Hello everyone and welcome back to the part 5th of our series where I am just explaining how you can build the real-time AI agents. We started this tutorial series with the very basic of what exactly the AI agents are. How we can build a very simple AI agent. In the previous part, which is the part 4, where we have understood how we can build a real-time AI agent for daily stand-up reporting. You can find the link in the description as well as on your right top of your screen. So in today's video, we are going to build another real-time useful AI agent, which is going to help you to interact with the Jira project management tool. If you are working in any software project, you would have heard this Jira project. So I have used my free account over here, right? And this is what my Scrum, my space is my software team, and then I have this space which is a Scrum, right? And we have some backlog as well. Right. For this video, what we're going to do is I'm going to use this free account. You can use your own account, but be very careful when you are actually going to roll out this AI agent for a production, because this is just a tutorial series for you to understand how powerful these LLMs are. If you want to build an AI agent, how you can, accompany these LLMs with various tools through which you can achieve whatever you are doing almost on a daily basis, right? So the structure is going to be the same, whatever we have built so far. Like, first we import, the bunch of libraries, right? Then we have defined some environmental variable. I'll just explain why do we need it, because we have to interact with the Jira project, right? And then we have a bunch of helper method. I'll just talk about, because these are the very standard one where how we just interact, with the RESTful API endpoint, which, Jira exposes us through, the RESTful API endpoint. I'll explain all these things, right? Then we have a tool, right? So we have a list of tools which we have just defined. This is the same structure what we have followed. Import all the libraries, define all the tools, so we have 8 tools so far, and we can keep adding this tool to make this AI agent more intelligent. Then we set up over here the tools with the name, not the entire method signature, right? But we have to make sure our doc string is good enough to explain what exactly this method is doing, because this is actually acting as a tool which actually gets embedded when we just make any LLM call as a context, right? Then we have a LLM object. Then we have a LLM bind with the tools, whatever the list of tools we have. Then we have a system prompt, and here system prompt makes very interesting logical coding, right? So basically how you are controlling, your AI agent. So now here we have created few epics, AI agent integration and testing, and I want to just interact with only those epics. So that's the reason so basically we are just trying to control our AI agent rather than giving a complete access to the Jira, which is not very good when especially you are building something and you want to first test very thoroughly. And once you have enough confidence, then probably you can start, using this tool for the larger projects, right? So this is how the prompt is. And then we have the simple loop, which we have been always building. And then we have this main, which is pretty much same standard, right? So this structure is pretty much same. The only thing here is you will see a different logic, because now we are interacting with the external system. In this case, we have this Jira, right? So before we actually get into the coding part in a more detail, so why a story creator agent, right? Writing, so whenever you use a Jira, you have to do a lot of manual thing, right? First, you have to create the epic. Then inside the epic, you have to create a story. You have to put a lot of content in it. So there is a story structure. You have to provide, why do you want that story to be implemented? Then you have to have acceptance criteria. And there are a lot of structure. Every team has their own structure to create that, which is a manual activity. And through this, we are trying to remove as much as manual activity we can, so that agent will take care of all those manual efforts which we just put, which is not required a lot of intelligence, right? So we're gonna verify, but before we roll out this to the larger audience or the real-time use, we have to do a very thorough testing, because this logic is meant for just a tutorial purpose, right? So, so what kind of problem this AI agent can solve? So if you just say turns a plain text sentence into the complete Jira story that we're gonna see in a demo just a bit. Write user story format automatically, right? So whatever the structure you want to follow, accordingly you have to change your system prompt, which I was just talking about, so that you will get that structure. Generate 3 to 5 number acceptance criteria. You can just keep changing it. So auto picks the right epic and the label based on the story content. We're gonna see whether we have defined 3 epics, whether our story is landing or created under this the correct epic or not. Then we can see the story pointing, bulk create. So can we create a multiple stories? Then we can just create. Then we can verify as well, right? So now the structure is pretty much same. If you're just following my earlier tutorial series, you would understand we are just following the same structure so that it would be a very consistent across the tutorial series, and it would be very easy to understand for you as well. So from just talking about the architecture, it's pretty much same. We have HTTP helper function, which I was talking about, where we have 8 different tools. Now we can start with a little bit of detail in a coding part. So these are the imports which we have, right, which is again standard. Now we are just loading an environmental file because we need to provide, the base URL, email, and the API token, which is a credential info, which is a secure, security related information. So I just put that everything into the environmental file and we are loading it. Then we are saying what is the default project key. So it's just a project name in a Jira. For me, it's Scrum. These are the 3 epic agent core integration and testing, which I can quickly show you on my Jira. Right. Okay. So I can quickly open this. Okay, so this is my agent core epic. And similarly, I can quickly show you the integration one, right? And then the third one is for testing. Okay, so these are the 3 different epic we have. Just for the testing purpose, I created that and just configured over here so that we are not messing up with the entire project. As I was mentioning, we are just making a HTTP request to the exposed API by the Jira. So we have to define our auth header. I'm not just going to detail about all these things. Whenever you interact with any, RESTful API endpoint through the HTTP, then you have to have these methods defined. And this logic can be completely up to you how you want to do it. But you have to understand what kind of parameters needs to be passed in. Just for the credential here, if you just see, we are just passing a simple API token with this a basic and then the simple token, right? And this is where you are just making your header, where you are just feeding in this API token, which is a very standard, pretty much a standard, and you have to type what kind of API request you are making, whether it's get, post, or put, right? Get is to just get the information, post is just to create a new story or or the new task or the bug, whatever you wanted to do it, and the Jira put is just whenever you want to modify something, right? Now the interesting part, this is the only exception which we have right now, because we need a helper function, because now we are interacting with the external system, which we haven't done yet, right? So this is the first time we are interacting with the external system with the HTTP for the RESTful API endpoints, right? If they can provide you a webhook URL, that also you can use, but again, accordingly, these helper method will change how you want to interact with the webhook URLs. Okay, the number of tools. The first one is get current tools, right? If I just come down here, right? So what all tools? So we have just talked about this one. We can just quickly talk about the 8 tools we have. The current time, get Jira project, right? So if you want to just extract all the Jira projects, right? How you can get that? So you are just making this request and you are filling this project, right? So you can just quickly see this get Jira get request, right? It's require a path. So here you are just given a project. So basically your URL will be REST API 3 and the project, then it's just making a request to that and you will get all the projects, right? Similarly, issue types, you can pass issue type as well, right? So all these things you will just find in a GitLab. So get epics, it's pretty much same. All you need to do is to just figure it out the API path for all these requests, and accordingly you can just change these methods, right? Create Jira story, you have to understand not only the API path, but you have to understand how your payload would look like. So it's pretty much same like if you have been doing testing, or if you have been building RESTful API server, then understanding this code is pretty much straightforward and very easy, right? So but you have to be very logical, just thinking about what kind of interaction you want your AI agent to do with the Jira, and accordingly you have to create the tools, right? So these are the 8 tools which we have built, right? So get Jira project, get issue types, get epics, right? So these are some get. Then we want to create a Jira story, we want to get a Jira ticket, we want to update a Jira story, and we want to create a multiple story. But this is it. I mean, this is not the complete action you want to delegate to your AI agent. So you have to create more tools depending upon what kind of interaction you want to allow your AI agent to do, right? So all these tools definition, we have already talked about it, right? The next thing is very straightforward, which we have been doing from since our part one, not part one, from part two onwards. We define the list of tools, then we create a LLM object, and then we just bind the tools with this bind tools, and then we create a system message, right? And then we get interaction where we just put the user input, that user input, user can type it from the prompt and it accepted, and it just converted to the human response, human messages over here. Why it is appending to the list, the same list which we have over here with the system message? Because we want to preserve the conversation history, so that the past interaction with your agent can just fed to the next request, right? And then we have a main. The most important part is this system prompt, because through this you can just control the behavior of your large language model, right? So now without further delay, let's get into the demo part and see how actually it works, right? So what I have done is I will just push this code to the GitLab, right? Okay, so I have already started that, but just for the sake of re-executing it. Okay, so now we are running a different version of, so we are running twin 3.535 billion now, right? Earlier we were running this 9 billion parameter based twin 3.5, but since now we are having more tools, it seems like if we could have a number of tools, more than 10, then, this 9 billion parameter is not doing a correct job. It's failing again. So that's the reason I just, increased to the 35 billion. But in the next section, I will just try to see if we can integrate, the Gemini or the OpenAI or the Claude LLMs directly, so that we can speed up a little bit, because now you have a clear idea how you can build your AI agent, how AI agent can smartly use LLMs to think, reason about like how which tool to be used to just complete the task in hand, right? So let's quickly start with a very simple, query, which is show me a Jira projects, right? And we can quickly see the task manager, to understand, how much resource are being utilized. Okay, so come to the GPU one. Here we can see this, it's 8 GB, it's 80%, 67%. It means that now it is utilizing LLM to just make the decision. So first it's just reasoning out and it's trying to see, it's thinking over here, right? I hope this completely makes sense. So now we can see this is my software team, which is ID is 10,000, right? So it's found that one project only. That's awesome. Right. So the next thing which we can figure it out, we can see how many epics do we have over there, right? So we have only one project, right? This next thing which we can figure it out, you know, how many epics we have over here, and then we will start with creating a story and try to see if we can modify few. Okay. Again, we can go to the task manager and see what's going on. Right, so it's again utilization is getting increased and now it's getting decreased. Okay, here we have memory itself. Well, we can come back here and see. Okay, so now it seems like it's from 7. So it's just able to fetch this AI agent code, which is our one epic. And we have two more. One is related to the integration. Third one is related to the testing quality, right? So we can see now if we wanted to create some story, this is the pattern which we can use, and we don't have to directly interact with the Jira, right? So we don't need to go directly to the Jira. We can use this AI agent. We can run this and we can just ask it to do whatever we want it to do, right? In the meantime, I can quickly show you. So it's done. It's just showing AI agent code for now, but that's not an issue. We wanted to just create a story. Let's do it. Yeah. Story for All the mechanism was influenced okay, so let's see. But I didn't mention, I mean, under which app it should create this story. Let's see if, it's intelligent enough to figure it out under which. So right now we have this Scrum 14 add rate limiting to Ollama LLM API call. Let's quickly review this because this one is also, I was just testing it whether it's working fine or not. And this is the content which we got, right? As a developer, I want to implement rate limiting of Ollama LLM API call so that we avoid hitting the rate. So all these acceptance criteria and the technical notes, I haven't done it. This is something which, LLM actually does. And this is a very light LLM which we are using. But if you start using Gemini, OpenAI, or Claude, or similar kind of, more intelligent tool which is available through the HTTP request, then this content can be very, very promising, right? So right now you can understand the power of all these kind of stuff, right? Let's quickly see what it's doing on a task manager. It's still taking some time. Cool. Okay, it's created a story Scrum 20, right? Let's see whether this has created under the Scrum 7 or not, right? So now we can see this has been created. Let's quickly verify the content. As a developer, I want to fallback mechanism for LLM requests so that the system remains functional even when the primary LLMs are unavailable, right? I haven't done this. I just put a very, very messy language and now it's able to create. Acceptance criteria, right? A system prompt Gemini first, then OpenAI, then fall back to running Ollama. Each LLM has configured timeout, blah, blah, blah. System logs, LLM, fallback mechanism. So if you just look at, right, each LLM has configurable timeout, right? Retry logic, right? Again, I haven't asked it, but this is something which is a very industry standard. Whenever you make a HTTP request, you have to have a timeout configuration, then you have to have a retry logic as well. System logs LLM endpoint was used for each request with timestamp. It's kind of AI governance. I haven't asked it, but still it's put over there. Fallback mechanism handles error gracefully without crashing the entire system. Again, it's very interesting and very promising. Configuration allowed disabling specific LLM's fallback, right? Now, technical notes. Use circuit breaker pattern to prevent cascading failure. It's very important. This is a design pattern which we need to use whenever we are just interacting with the external system, which is kind of a the standard of, architecting any system. The store last successful LLM endpoint for optimization and matrix for fallback. So this really looks pretty awesome, right? The next thing is, you can just see what it has done. You can just figure it out the entire detail over here. Now, if you want, you can just create more stories. You can update the story as well if you want it, right? So this is pretty much it, which I wanted to cover just to showcase what precisely we can achieve just writing these lines of code to just use these LLMs more smartly. The main point is you just need to understand the external system to which you want to allow your LLMs to interact, what kind of helper methods you need to, do the manipulation of the external system, and then the actual tools which is going to be used, those helper methods to just do the right kind of a job which you want your AI agent to complete, right? So that's pretty much it from my side for this video, because now we're gonna just create another interesting AI agent related to GitLab. Once that is done, then we will just combine this Jira AI agent as well as the GitLab AI agent to our daily stand-up reporting to have all these three AI agents interacting with each other to just, remove all the manual intervention related to your daily stand-up, your Jira manipulation, and your GitLab related actions. Right. So I hope you really enjoy this video. If you have any feedback or suggestion, please feel free to put that into the comment section. And as always, thanks for watching this and stay healthy and keep learning new things.